Brandstatter Senior Talk, and that's brought to you by Windmill Manor and the Solon American Legion.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Rex Brandstatter, and it is time for Senior Talk on such a nice day on the first day of November. So the first thing you would say would be to yourself is, where in the heck did October go? Well, it just flew, honest to gosh. It just does like that. I've got a little quip here coming up here about how things go fast, except when you're a kid. We'll talk about that. So welcome to Senior Talk. Oh, what a beautiful day we have going today. I have to tell you, folks, that yesterday was about as crappy as it gets. So the wind was blowing just terrible out of the northwest, and about 35 to 40 all day, and it was nasty outside. And today, that wind, I just was outside at studios here. The wind has turned around to the south, so warmer things ahead, and gosh darn it, why not? Well, senior greetings to me from you folks, seniors, hopefully, and maybe even less than that. Welcome to Senior Talk, the weekly radio program where we're going to try to identify and examine and share some important and timely information for we and you fellow seniors. Well, thank you so much for listening in and also spending a few minutes of your busy day to listen to Senior Talk. And as always, I'd like to have you sit down and grab a sandwich and a nice cold root beer and see if we can cook something up that might make sense to you, might make sense to your family, might make sense to your friends, your buddies where you used to work because now you're retired, things like that. We'll do our very best, and I'll see if I can't cook up some fun recollections of what I call past people, places, things, and events which took place around Iowa City, Johnson County area over the past years, of which I may recall, or you may recall as well. And feel free to give me a call and tell me about some things. Maybe I can do some research for you and come up with some ideas for you. We'll do that. Well, my name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm 74 years old, and I think that we seniors sure have a lot on our minds, and we're going to talk about it. So I've been a licensed real estate broker here in Iowa since 1974, helping lots and lots of people, especially seniors, buy houses, sell houses, investment properties, commercial properties, and things like that. And I can certainly help you. I do work with a lot of estates. I work with a lot of senior families. I work with the trust departments of banks. Attorneys call me. Seniors and their families call me, where we just sit down and talk at your kitchen table, or go get a coffee somewhere, or come to my office, whatever works for you best. We talk about your future plans to stay in your house, or if you're going to stay there, how you can remodel your house or do some things so you can stay there. There's a thing called, in the real estate business and in life, called aging in place. And aging in place is, as you get older, you try to figure out, where am I going to be? Where do we want to live? Where do I want to live? And kind of ride this thing out, kind of ride the waves here as we're talking about, okay, what can we do? And everybody, I would say 99% of you listening, want to age in place at home. By golly, we like our home, we like the neighborhood, which we've learned that a lot of people don't, but they're afraid to stay because they have too much stuff in the garage, too much stuff in the basement. They say they can't move because they've got too much stuff. Well, that's weak, folks. That is weak. That means that your stuff is running your life, and you just cannot allow that. So what we need to do is kind of find out a happy medium here when we talk to people. Mom's not doing too good. Mom has a hip issue, and Dad is not supposed to be going up and down steps, but we have this big two-story house that we love. How can we work with that? And that's what we talk about. It's not an emergency situation. We just need to sit down and talk about it and see what you're up to, see if we can come up with some ideas that will work for you, for sure. So if you're going to age in place, you need to do it somewhere that treats yourself well. And I don't mean maybe such a treat as in trick or treat, but treats yourself, gives you a reason to better enjoy where you're living. I like that. Gives you a really good reason to better enjoy where you're living. Now, that could be because you have steps, and you have to go up the steps to the master bedroom. You have to go down the steps to the washer-dryer area, laundry room, 4 or 5 steps to the garage, all kinds of things. Wherever it's not handy and cumbersome for you, that's when we need to talk. And, of course, I have a senior line. You can give me a call anytime. And my senior line is 319-330-5534. 330-5534. And I'll do my very best to take your call and call you right back. Do whatever I can to help you out. We'll sit down and talk about it for sure. Well, the news, I've had a lot of fun with this recently. A couple weeks ago, I announced to you that as you probably heard by now, is that the news that the Social Security will increase your Social Security check by 3.2% in January. Has not been a real hot topic of conversation. Has not been a topic. And there are some hot topics here locally in the news. You can often figure out what they are. Jim Hunter and I rolled our eyes just a few minutes ago, and we know what the elephant in the room is for news around town these days. But nobody is talking about the 3.2 or 3.3% increase in Social Security checks you're going to get. Well, why not? Well, because last year we got a 8.7 or 8.9 or 8, something like that. And so now this year the government, in their wisdom, has said, well, it's 3.3, based on the same formula, the same criteria as they used for the 8.8 last year. So from last year to this year, what has gone down in price? Name me something that has gone down in price, not groceries, not your Halloween candy. I took some Halloween fun size. 3 bags of fun-size candy to the last tailgater when we got the Minnesota game was stolen from us from the Big Ten referees. Stolen from us, ladies and gentlemen. I took 3 fun-size bags. I think one was a Snickers and one was a Kit Kat and maybe something else, and it was $15. $15 for 3 little bags of fun-size candy. And after further review, as the referees would say, the little fun-sized candy bars are about 3/4 the size of what they were even last year. Isn't that called something? Isn't that something? That's wow. That's just gets me. That's called inflation, folks. Inflation and deflation all working at the same time. So anyhow, so this 3.3% increase. Remember, folks, it's an increase. Because everybody says when you mention to, well, yeah, but trust me, I'll bet you that Medicare is going to go up. Well, Medicare is going to go up $9.80. We'll call that $10. So if you're the national average Social Security check is right at $1,500. I think it's a little north of it. $1,500. So we're going to call 3 times 15 is 45. So you can get about a $50 a month raise, and they're going to take 10 back, 10 more for Medicare. So you're going to get about a $40 a month raise. Well, that's not bad. Of course, they're not going to keep up with inflation. It's about 1/3 of the inflation rate. So look out. So yes, it's more money. Yes, we're going to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, two small steps forward, 1 step back. But in the bottom line, remember this: next year, when they come up with that, it will say there's a percentage increase. It will be based on the higher number which you're going to receive now. So it's never going to be. It's kind of like a CD. It's never going to make you any money, but it's going to hold its own, maybe. So we'll see what happens. So I'm saying that this raise is a good thing. I'm here to raise my hand, saying a raise is a good thing. It's not enough. I certainly agree with that. But let me pose this question: how good would you feel? How excited would you be if they were to eliminate the income taxes on Social Security? That is the real winner, folks. I've never heard one politician mention that, because all they want is our tax money. So if they would drop our income tax on Social Security, or even if they didn't eliminate it, drop it by 20, start with 25%. Start with 30%. Do that. That would be a real saving grace. But the reason they won't do that is because then they have to make up for somewhere else. They give so much money away that they have to take us out of our shorts, out of our hide, to pay for that. Boy, I'm on a good roll here today, folks. I really like this. So that's the story with Social Security. Well, we are off to a new month today. Today is November the 1st, and you always have to wonder where the past month, when we talked before. Now, one friend said to me, this kind of really got me. He says, well, when I was a kid, Christmas never came this fast when I was a kid. Isn't that the truth? They would tell you about Christmas coming, and it'd be a month away, 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away, a week away. It seemed forever. But now we get something like summer just shoots right through, spring shot right through, fall is shooting right through, and now we're looking down the gun barrel winter. And that's not going to go so fast in our minds anyhow. It all goes the same speed, but not in our minds. So another thing I want to remind you of, this is not only November, but this Sunday is going to be what I call the hardest day of the year. There's the longest day of the year and the shortest day of the year, and I call this coming Sunday, the hardest day of the year. Why? Well, think about it. Just wait a minute now, Rex. You might be right. this Sunday we have to move our clocks back. Oh my God, I don't like that. We have to move the clocks back. That's a downer for me and anybody else I can even see right now at the stadium. Everybody thinks thumbs down on that. I agree. That means that's right. It's going to be dark at 4:30. And by the way, it's going to gradually days get shorter until the 21st, and when we end up with this thing, sunset is about 4:30 in the afternoon. So that's where we're headed, folks. So and let me give you another little point that I do. I've used this for years, and I guess I never really give up on it. It's just that I don't wear a jacket in the summer so much, but I have a handy-dandy little flashlights in each and every jacket in all the cars. We have 2-3 cars. I've got little handy-dandy flashlights, and I make it a point to make sure all the batteries are working because it's dark half the time you're out. Now you say, I don't need a flashlight. Well, more power to you. That's your business. But sometimes they're just handy to have around. So got one in my jacket today. I had a different jacket on yesterday. I had a winter coat on yesterday. I check it out, and there it was, the flashlight. It works great. So my little hint this week is get yourself a little pocket flashlight, maybe one for a couple different jackets, and you'll always have one with you. That is for sure. Question for you. Did you get your furnace filters changed? Oh, why not? Did you get new batteries in your smoke alarms? Why not? You know, you can call an electrician to come and do that. Well, Rex, for God's sakes, we can change our own. So you're going to get up on a 2-step or a 3-step or a wobbly kitchen chair to change batteries or whatever you're going to do. How's that going to work if you fall down, folks? Let's think we're seniors. Let's think the long play here, all right? Get that little flashlight and get the furnace. I want you to get the furnace filter fixed. Changed, not fixed, changed. I want you to get a little flashlight or two. And I want you to change the smoke alarm battery. That's what you could do for yourself. You could also take a tour of the outside of your house. Take a tour of the outside of your house. Well, why, Rex? Why? Well, you could see things that just like I would have you do in the spring. Maybe you've got a window that's not working right on the outside. Maybe you've got some siding that's loose on the outside. You just never know what you're going to see. If you don't take that tour, you won't know until it's too late, and then you got to call somebody in the middle and say, go take a little tour. Just walk around your house. That's all I'm asking you to do. Look at the gutters, look at the shingles. Just take a tour. If you see something goofy, why, give me a call. I'll see if we can't find somebody to help you get it fixed. It just takes a little attention. All of us need to, I'm going to tell you about how a lady figured that out here. It just takes a little attention on our part from our busy day, we think is busy anyhow, to take advantage of the things that we have. And the advantage of the things that we have our own home, our own condo, or our own apartment, and it take a little time and effort to take care of yourself as we come into winter. That is for sure. Well, a senior man was lamenting to me that here's what he said. Now, many of you might be able to, I can't, I don't have kids, let alone grandkids. You might be able to latch on to this thing. A senior man was lamenting that his grandson, quote, sure has it easy at home. He said his parents, he goes, my son, they don't have him do any mowing, any raking, any shoveling of snow, any chores. He does whatever he wants at any time, including just playing games on his computer at home. He says, the grandpa says, I don't see any discipline. I don't see any, quote, path of learning. I don't see anything that would help this young man, my grandson, take the next step or two along the path of life. So Grandpa is seeing that his grandson is not getting too good of a tutelage, we'll call it, his steerage from his dad, which is Grandpa's son. And Grandpa is concerned about it, and more power to him, he should be. So I want you to stop and think about whether you're a senior lady listening or a senior man listening. You know, in our day, I'm going to say, I'm going to generalize here, for the most part, every day was a learning type of thing. We had assignments, we had duties, we had chores, we had jobs that we had to do, and it came with living there. It was part of the deal. And I would say to my dad, he would say, well, all right, today's the day. I want the yard mowed today. There was no back talk. There was nothing. You mowed the grass. You shut up. You did it, and it was your job, and away you went. One day I'm about, I don't know, 12 or 13, pretty smarter than the average bear, of course. And I said, how much do I get for that? And that just created a firestorm, so to speak, of a sit down from my dad. And it was a pretty good life's lesson because I remember to this day. And he said, here's the deal. It takes a lot of different things and different people and different jobs around to make this place go. Now, there's you and your brother and your mom and I. There's only 4 of us, but I work. I have to make money to pay the house payment, so you have a roof over your head and make money to put food on that table that you get. And Mom now, and back in the day, most women back then in the 50s did not work. Most, and not all, did not work. So I said, Mom, sure, she's doing everything she can to keep this place going and make sure the lights are on, the heat's on. We didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have to worry about that being on. That's her job. And you two boys, you guys have to pitch in because since Mom is not going to mow the grass for the most part, never did. I never saw her on the lawnmower. I never saw her shovel snow. That was part of the deal. You two boys, myself and you two boys, you're in charge of, we are in charge of everything else. We're in charge of taking out the garbage. We're in charge of the mowing the grass. We're in charge of anything and everything, painting, whatever it might be. We are in charge. And nobody pays me to do that, so guess what? I'm not paying you to do it. It comes with the fact that you have, a roof over your head and 3 hots and a cot. And so go to it, pal. Well, that was the last conversation I ever said, how much do I get paid to mow the grass? Because it was that will never happen. It didn't happen when I was 50 years old, went back and mowed my dad's grass. I never asked him for any money. He never offered any of this. It was just a non-starter. What it's your dad. If you want to charge your dad, or that's your business. I don't care if you want to pay him. That's your business. It just wasn't a way to do things. I did strike up a deal with my grandpa because my grandpa's house in Corwell had a big, huge house and 2 lots. And so I'd get called. I was in charge of their yard. Grandpa got to be an old guy, and I was in charge of their yard. I had 3 city lots, plus the house to trim and all kinds of stuff. And I told my dad, I said, I'm kind of like being hired to mow Grandpa's place. I was wondering if he might pay me. So he says, you go ask him. This is a business deal between you and your grandpa. And I'm about 12 or 13, big enough to mow, and they showed me how to do it. I've been mowing for a long time. So I sat down with Grandpa, and I told him that, and he said, well, here's the deal. He said, I'll be happy to pay you. He said, I'll be happy to pay you on what I consider a fair, I don't know if he said fair wage, but a type of thing like that. And so I was paid $1.50. But that was his grass, his lawnmower. Anyhow, $1.50. And I would go in and I would say, Grandpa said I'm supposed to get $1.50. And every time she said, for what? All you did was mow the grass. So, it was a hard sell to the Brandstatters as a kid. And so when I finally got jobs mowing the neighbor ladies, I charged her $2.50. I thought I was making $1 million. I just did. So, but it was a hard sell at home. It never worked at home. My brother, he never got a dime. He tried once himself. And it was just part of the deal, That's what it was. And we had the home justice system that if you didn't do what you're supposed to do, as the normal kid, you could always try to buffalo your mom. When Dad's at work and Mom was at home, you could try to buffalo Mom. And my mom was pretty cool about that. We'd say, don't forget you got to get that grass mowed. Well, it kind of looks like rain, or we're going to go swimming first and we'll do it when we get back. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't the order of things were going to happen. You mowed the grass, then you went fishing down the river. You mowed the grass, then you went to play a Little League game. You mowed the grass, then you went swimming. It wasn't the other way around. So my mom was cool about that. She just said, well, that's okay. That's fine. You can do that. We'll just deal with your dad when he gets home. So you might as well dealt with a commie or a Hitler, He wasn't that bad, but, those are the chances you had of negotiating with him. None. 0. So my brother and I, we called it 11th Avenue Justice, which was none. It was guilty, bring the guilty party in, we'll give him a fair trial, then we'll hang him, That was the justice system. And I'm guessing that lots and lots of you seniors, your men or senior men or senior lady, grew up in the same household. Your parents were the Iron Fist, and it's what it was. Now, this young man we're talking about, he hasn't experienced that yet. And in my world, a swift kick to the butt and a few lawns. And if I was a dad, but I'm not, so I can't jump in here at all. But that's not the way most of us were raised. I should tell you that right now. And that's what this grandpa said. He said, I wasn't raised that way. No way. We would go. Pretty easy rules, I thought, too. My brother and I, pretty easy rules. Do what you're told and shut up, and then you can go do whatever you want to do, like ball games and stuff like that. All right. A senior lady tells me that she has found a new thing to do as part of her retirement. She says, I found a new thing to do as part of my retirement. She said, I retired 4 years ago from my job at the University of Iowa after 42 years. She said, I did nothing for 6 months, and then decided to get involved in things. And get involved in things. And she said, now, 4 years later, I'm learning to take some time to do nothing. I was getting to the point of having a calendar and reminders on my phone, notes around the house. And a couple of months ago, she said, I decided that I retired for a reason. And one of the reasons was to simplify things. Simplify my life. I worked all those 42 years. I worked, saved, and did with the family, did all that, and raised a family. I'm by myself now. My husband's gone, and I have my own retirement account. And she said the finances are well within what I need. So she said, here I am getting so busy, I don't know if I'm coming or going. And she just decided, she sat down one day, she said, I was having lunch by myself. She said, the heck with this, I need to slow down. I need to simplify things. That's one of the things I wanted to treat myself to when I retired, was to sit back and do what I wanted to do and not do everything all the time. So she said, I just was getting so busy, going this group, that group, talk to these people, meet there, go there. She said, I had reminders dinging at me on my phone. She said, baloney, I'm not doing this anymore. So she said, now I'm back. I'm still active. I still take part in some things that I enjoy doing. But I've learned a new word, Rex. I've learned a new word. It's a really, really short word. It's said, the word is no. And someone calls me now, would you be interested in being the chairman of this? She says, I just say, oh, that's a great project, but no, I'm not interested. And says, immediately people go, well, do you know anybody else who is? Or they'll say, boy, you'd be good at it. And she says, I just tell them, yes, I think I probably would be, but I'm just not interested. I like that. Just say no. Oh, you have a great, I love that. I worked with that group before. Or, yes, I know I've been involved before. I'm not interested in being the chairman of this committee, or I'm not interested in being the head cheese of that. Just say no. Good for this lady. She said, I learned a new word, and then she said this. I learned a new word. It's called no. And she said, people should try it. Isn't that interesting? Excuse me. Wow. That's kind of a new a twist on things for sure. A senior couple tells me this. We have realized more and more that we should be in the de-accession stage. We need to get rid of things and also quit buying things. Folks, if you're listening today, if you walk over to the mirror right now and look in there, you might see somebody who's in the same, or should be in the same stage as these people. You keep buying, and you haven't used the last two things you bought, probably. But you keep buying. It's just the way we are. I'm not picking on anybody, but it comes a time that enough's enough. We need to get rid of things, and we also need to quit buying things. We don't need anything, and we don't need new this or new that. And as a matter of fact, we should be getting rid of the things that we don't use. This lady was really on a ride here, and I congratulated her once she got done. So she said, we have been doing just that. We have been going room to room, area of the house to area of the house. The basement was, we don't know how it got that way. You have to stop and ask ourselves, how did we get all this stuff down here? I don't even remember taking these things down the steps. And look at all those things over there that we haven't used. Well, now as we get older, it's harder to take them back up the steps. So we're doing the best we can with the little things. We're taking them out. We're donating them. We're telling our kids to come and get them. And we've turned a new page. And she said, now that the weather is cold, this is kind of timely, ladies and gentlemen, kind of timely in the fact that she called me and said it's pretty handy for us because it's cold. We don't want to and can't work outside. So we're going to, what she said, attack the house. I like that too, attack the house. So I said, good for you. I'm really impressed for you. I got a call from maybe more than one people, probably 2 or 3 within the last 2 weeks. They live in a condominium association, and the condominium association has sent them letters saying that the condominium association, their dues might be going up. Everybody's dues might be going up because the cost of insurance is going to go up. Now, if you live in a condominium, remember this: you pay dues, you pay membership dues, HOA dues they're called, homeowners association dues, and part of that, for the most part of that covers replacement of your condo. So if you live in a condominium, let's say you live in a duplex, a zero lot line duplex condominium. My wife and I, we live in a condominium. It's a single family home in a condominium association. Okay, so if the condominium association came to you and said, our association insurance went up, but we're going to have to charge everybody. Okay, that's happened. That is what's happening around the country. All these insurance companies are taking it in the shores with big-time problems with fires and the hurricanes and tornadoes and things like that. So they're raising rates basically almost huge percentages. I had another man who's a member of an HOA, and he called and said, I want to tell you this. He said, I was on the board, and the HOA, we got our insurance company that insures our homeowners association and the buildings and the grounds is going to drop our insurance unless, not raise, but drop, unless we get rid of all the outdoor barbecues that people are using on their decks. What? On their patios and their screen-in porch. You can't use them. We're not supposed to have them on screen-in porch anyhow. But they're going to drop us. So our choices are we either pass a rule that says you can't have a barbecue on your back deck or on your screened-in porch, or we're going to drop you like a hot rock. Well, I don't know what to do. A part of the joy of living is a barbecue, whether you barbecue year-round or just 2 times in the summer. Part of that is the freedom of having a barbecue. So I guess they could resort to saying the only place you can barbecue is to put it out on the driveway when you want to barbecue your meat, your hamburgers, whatever you can do. You got to go out on the front driveway and do it. Well, not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody knows it's supper time at the Brandstatter house. Boy, that smells good. What are you having tonight, Rex? That's fine, kibitz, but that gets a little old once in a while. You want your privacy. So I don't know what's going to happen there. That's a biggie. I've heard that 2 different times from 2 different HOAs. So we'll see what's going to happen. My guess is that you're either going to have to pay, and the raise was going to be substantial. So, it wasn't going to be like $13 a month or $6 a month. It was going to be substantial to each house owner if they decided to re-up with that company. Wow. We're going to see what happens with that. I'm just going to keep a track of that. Let's talk about Woodlawn. Who? What? Woodlawn. Well, it's an area of Iowa City that not many people know about. Not many people, if they do know where it is, you don't know what it is. So I'm going to talk about Woodlawn here today. And Woodlawn, great things actually were once planned for Woodlawn, dating way back into the early 1840s. 1840s, ladies and gentlemen. Like 180 years ago. Old Capitol was being constructed at the west end of Iowa Avenue. The west end of Iowa Avenue is where Old Capitol is to this day. And it was built in the mid-1840s, as you know. As you live around here, you know that. Old Capitol's been standing down there. It's called Calm and Secure on Thy Hill. That's the Old Capitol. It's been there since the 1840s. Did you know that on the east portico of the Old Capitol, they had a wake and a big day of mourning for Abraham Lincoln? Actually, had a 30-day mourning period. But they had a big wake on the east. That'd be the east side towards Iowa Book and Supply. They had big black banners up would have been cloth back then, not paper mache. Funeral look for when Abraham Lincoln got assassinated in 1865. The Old Capitol has just seen so many things come and go. Well, Woodlawn was at is at the far east end of Iowa Avenue. It's there today. So if you got on your bike or walked, I recommend the seniors do one or the other. Now it's cold. I guess you can take your car. But if you walk from the Old Capitol east, 9.5 to 10 blocks, which really represents a mile, you'll come to the end of Iowa Avenue as we know it, the 900 block. And if you keep going east, there's a driveway, and it's called Woodlawn, a little bitty dinky sign that says Woodlawn. And what was going on there was they were going to build the governor's mansion at that area. Well, Rudy Toot, the governor's mansion. And the governor of Iowa was going to live there in a house that we, the people, were going to build. And then every morning the plan was to pick up the governor and take the governor, we're going to say him because that's what it was back then, take him in a buggy every morning from Woodlawn to the old Capitol where his office would be, where he'd do business. That was the plan. Well, the old Capitol got built, but Woodlawn never got off the schneid, as they would say. And it's like 11 blocks to the east is where this is. The plan was patterned after the Washington, D.C., where our nation's capital is located, at one end of Pennsylvania Avenue and the White House at the other. I mean, if you've been to D.C., that's exactly what it is. Old Capitol, while it was not completed, was used as the territorial capital as early as 1842, and in 1846, when Iowa achieved statehood, it served as a state capital. Well, we all know that if you lived around here. And by the way, when's the last time you went downtown and walked through the old Capitol and took a tour? You know, they have daily tours. You can go online and figure out when it is, or go down there, walk in the east door, go just like they did for Abraham Lincoln's wake, and go in the east door there. Did you know there's a museum? Did you know that there's a shop where you buy things down there? Did you know that? Well, we might take the old. I don't really like the statement "take it for granted" because it's there and it's doing its thing by standing there and serving us for sure. It's the university offices now for the most part. I mean, remember the big spiral, the largest, the world's longest reverse spiral staircases inside there? It's a very unique building. And pretty much a lot of it's been redone inside after the stupid fire a few years ago. So Woodlawn never kind of got off the ground. Reported they say that the mansion actually's location was to have been in the center of Woodlawn over there. And currently there's a few homes there, but the mansion never was built. And in 1857, when the state capital moved to Des Moines, it really, really faded into oblivion. Woodlawn is a private area, ladies and gentlemen. It's not for the Johnny Q public to go down there and have a picnic on the grounds. It's a private area, and it recently has been named to the National Historic of Historic Districts. We're described as an enclave of 14 residential structures situated at the east end of Iowa Avenue. The Y-shaped junction of Iowa Avenue is out there. That's exactly what it is. Of the 14 buildings, 9 are houses built in the late in the 18th century, and they're vintage homes. 2 are from the 1920s. One is a 4-story apartment block with 17 apartments, not so much anymore. And one is a 1920s bungalow. And 2 are modern ranch-style homes on Ralston Creek, is just to the north of this place. Describing Woodlawn as an enclave of 14 residential structures is correct, but as far as it goes, but Woodlawn is definitely more than there is what we see around town. Okay, so Woodlawn is a private. I wouldn't use the word secluded, but I like the word private. You drive by there if you go out if you're heading east on Iowa Avenue and you take a right there, you have to take a right. Or take a left there. If you go straight ahead, you'd run right into the homes on Woodlawn Avenue. I know many people who have lived in Woodlawn. I've never sold a house in there as a realtor. I've shown houses there, but the homes there, for the most part, deserve a lot of care. And since it's in a historic district, you have to play by whatever those rules are, and they're no fun. If you're going to change siding or things like that, change paint colors, you have to play into some of those rules. So if you're out and around, you might want to take a look over there. There used to be a big white sign on the road that said Woodlawn, and that's not there anymore. And so that's an area. We're going to talk about another pretty cool area next week. I got a couple stories for you for next week. I hope you'll stay tuned and come see me next week for sure. Well, I want to talk about the 10 most affordable homes for states for seniors. 10 most affordable. This is a goofy list, ladies and gentlemen. This is a goofy list. The 10 most affordable places to retire for seniors. Now, it says affordable, which means it really, really doesn't take into account weather. Keep that in mind as I read this list. Number 10, South Bend, Indiana. You can go over there, listen, and cheer for the Notre Dame because apparently it's a good, affordable place. And affordable could be the groceries, could be the gas, could be the standard things that they would judge Iowa City on this as well. Number 9 would be Green Bay, Wisconsin. So you don't have to go to Notre Dame football. You could go up to Green Bay if you've been there. Apparently that must be a less expensive place than lots of other place in the United States, you can cheer for your Packers. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Don't know about that. Michigan has its issues with big cities, have lots of problems. So maybe that's part of this, could play into that. They've got a lot of Grand Rapids. I don't know, not been there. I think Western Michigan University is there. Might be a nice college town. I don't know. Could be. Asheville, North Carolina. Now, if you head south, I think you find maybe the cost of living, wages are probably less down there. The cost of living, land was cheaper down there, so maybe that's part of it. I can't see groceries or a gallon of gas being less expensive. How about number 6 is Toledo, Ohio. I've never been to Toledo. I don't know why it would be an affordable place. Don't know what the housing stock is there, the housing market. Number 5 would be Youngstown, Ohio, so there's something going on in Ohio. Number 4 would be Pittsburgh, PA. I've not been to Pittsburgh. I've been close to it, but I don't know. It's a relatively big city. I'm going to say it's kind of Milwaukee size, so it's not the biggest thing in the history of the world. It's one of the smaller cities that has a professional football team, the Steelers, and the baseball team, the Pirates. I don't know why that would qualify either. This list just got me of all the communities on this. And number 3 is Scranton, Pennsylvania. So now we've got 2 in Ohio and 2 in Pennsylvania in that kind of general area. So the cost of living there, if you think of that through as your old high school thing, that's a lot of manufacturing jobs were out there in Youngstown, in Toledo, in, I don't know about Asheville, but in Pittsburgh, of course, the steel industry in Scranton, it's all, so maybe that's what's got to do with it. Maybe it's a lower income area, and things have to be low in order for people, the housing is cheaper there. The housing is not in good condition there, so it's less expensive there. That's got to be part of the survey for sure. Number 2 is Ocala, Florida. Now, I suppose I've been to Ocala and probably didn't know it, Ocala, Florida, but that's the only one that really fits into the weather thing here. That's the only one that had decent weather other than Asheville, North Carolina, where it would be pretty nice year-round. Ocala, Florida, I don't know why that would be standing. And the first place that you might want to think about retiring, the number 1 place, and according to this survey, to make affordable for seniors to live in, you're going to like this one, is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, I don't understand that one. I don't get it, but that's what they're saying. By the way, when I was a kid, I was talking to a guy not long ago about Fort Wayne, and I said, oh, you used to have a professional basketball team in the NBA. And he said, no, not Fort Wayne. I said, yeah, you did. You had Fort Wayne. I said, what? He said, what? I said, Fort Wayne was in the NBA. I said, they moved. Well, where did they move? I said, they moved to Detroit. They're the Pistons. No way. Well, that's a true story. When I was a kid, I used to watch the NBA when they were on Sundays, and Fort Wayne had a team. So did Syracuse, New York. Amazing, isn't it? All the things change. Well, all these things affordable. I'm thinking that if you just watch your P's and Q's and cut out a coupon once in a while and take care of yourself and be careful on what you buy and things like expand, I think you can do quite well right here in Johnson County. I didn't say it's cheap. I didn't say the taxes are low. I didn't say anything is cheap here about it. But if we take care of ourselves as seniors and watch ourselves and buy what you have to buy and be a little frugal with it, I think we can do quite well. So I want you to work on keeping your health in business. I might make a statement next week about what's going on in our house. I might not, but things are getting a lot better in our house for sure, on upswing and health-wise, and we're going to be back. So that's the story, ladies and gentlemen. Now, since we suffered the indignity of having a Floyd of Rosedale stolen from us, I contend that University of Minnesota is in possession of stolen property, and they should return it because Floyd of Rosedale was stolen from University of Iowa. This week we're going to play in Wrigley Field, and I've never been to a football game there. It's laid out kind of goofy, for sure. And cheer them on, cheer the Hawks, and I think they're going to show up. I know they will. I know they're going to do good. I think they're going to win. I'm saying I will win. So that's keep your fingers crossed. Do the best you can. Take care of yourself. Keep yourself in good spirits. And let's go, Hawks. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. So long.
On an athletic team, you need team